Hey guys, I'm over at Birdsong in Ballarat Cemetery. Just thought I'd do a little bit of a video blog. It's quite a nice day today. It's a little bit of wind about, so hopefully the wind doesn't affect the blog too much. As usual during my vlogs I'm going to ramble a little bit, but that's just the way it goes. Just enjoying the scenery. We've got some nice little markers on stones here, so I send all the blessings and everything to all the people that are around me today. Got a beautiful one right behind me which you probably won't see on the video, but that's okay. Okay, I guess the thought that was in my mind was to have a bit of a chat about spirit in cemeteries. We go around to a lot of cemeteries, and so over the many years, we've found a few different things. First off, in a lot of cemeteries that we've been to, we find that sometimes the spirit are actually not connected to the cemetery at all. Through mediumship and communication, spirit boxes and whatever else, we've actually found that some of the spirit are just local spirit that are just cruising through. It's the same as like in your house. Quite often we'll have local spirit just cruising through. So what is it with spirit in cemeteries? You know, do you actually pick up people who have passed away and who are laying in the cemetery? Do you pick up people that are not connected to the cemetery at all? Do you pick up people who have actually crossed over, or are you only picking up spirit that are lost souls and still drifting around and probably hanging around their grave because that's the last memory they do have? Alright, well there's a couple of things with this we've found out over the years. First off, I'll just speak about the spirit that have crossed over. What we find is that if you're in a cemetery and you're picking up the spirit that has crossed over when you're in a cemetery, what you actually find is that, or what we found is that the spirit who's crossed over, it's partially their last memory why they connect to their grave. If you can imagine, like, you know, the spirit who crosses over straight away, doesn't hang about, they still pop back and they can see their funeral procession, they can see the ceremony, they can see all their friends at the ceremony, they can be there at the ceremony, they can actually move to where their grave is, because they're connected to family, and if they've got family and friends that are visiting periodically their grave, and they're seeing the emotions and the mourning of their friends and family, they've kind of like got this bit of a connection to their grave. So what actually happens is, when we're doing investigations, if we're moving around the cemetery, we've got some visitors in a car, I don't know where they're stopping, what they're doing, who knows, but it's a very popular spot, this one. But anyway, as I was saying, they know where their grave is, they've got this emotional connection to it, or a knowledgeable connection to it, because they've seen their loved ones and friends come to their grave and pay their respects. So they know when somebody is around their grave. It's just like an automatic response. It's like an automatic knowing that somebody is around their grave. So if they've crossed over and they wish to communicate to the person who's doing the investigation, they can pop back to their grave and they can communicate to you. They can try to point out which one is their grave. They can try to give you their name. And you get responses in this way. Now, if you've got a spirit that hasn't crossed over, what generally happens there is you've got that spirit hanging around their family. You know, they pass, they die, and what happens there is they hang around their family through some emotional reason, probably wanting to make sure that their family is okay. They know their family's going through an emotional thing. The spirit may not have crossed over for a lot of reasons. It could be because they're scared themselves, they have emotional issues, they have attachment to family, they have unfinished business. There's all sorts of things. They may not even know how to cross over. And that's part of what we do as investigators. If we come across a spirit that is like that, we will help them cross over. But that lost soul spirit, if you're picking up one of those in a cemetery that is connected to a grave, again, they can try to point out their grave, but they're connected to the cemetery as last memory. Basically, the person has died, they've taken the body, put it in the ground or cremated it or whatever. They've brought the ashes or the body to a cemetery, buried the body, and the spirit has followed through the whole process. You know, they've come and seen their friends and loved ones come and give respect to their grave or mourn at their grave again. And so they're very connected as a last memory to a cemetery. So you'll get spirit that are hanging around the cemetery because it's their last memory. It's the most emotional memory in some respects too, because it's something they've seen family there being very emotional, and there's an emotional connection to their grave. So with these lost soul, once again, you can't force them to cross over, but what you can actually do as paranormal investigators, well, what we do, is and it's usually not on camera, but what we do a lot of is off camera, we have a chat to the spirit. We try to explain to the spirit that there is a better place to be, that there is, you know, they can connect up to loved ones and friends who have already crossed over, and there is a better place to be. Now, it's not a matter of, you know, we can open up portals and do this and that and all sorts of stuff to help them cross over, but in all respect, it's their choice. You know, it's kind of like sometimes they need to have some form of emotional balance. You can help as an investigator with this emotional balance so that eventually they can actually cross over. While you be in a beautiful place like this, Birdsong, part of the old, they call it the new cemetery because there are actually two cemeteries in Ballarat itself. One is a very old one, and this one they call the new cemetery because there are a lot of new areas. And this is just a beautiful area. I mean, geez, I wouldn't mind hanging around here myself. I know there's a lot of better things to do, but it's a beautiful area. And, you know, your friends came along to see me here, to pay respects. I'd love to pop in too. So, and even strangers, you know, that are wandering around, that have got that empathy and that have got that respect for spirit, I'd pop in and say g'day too. So, you know, while you're paranormal investigating, you may pick up on spirit that are in a cemetery. I guess, you know, the big thing is that you cannot force spirit to cross over. But once you've got some walkers with a dog now, a lot of people like walking through here. A few more cars pulling up, coming down to pay respect. There's a little bit of a grassy area not far from here, and it's a lovely little place. So just be a little bit careful from where it's here, because I've got people walking relatively close. You're steering away from the camera a little bit, probably wondering what the hell I'm doing, filming and talking about spirit in a cemetery, but hey, you know. It's what we do. We don't hide it, and quite often when we're doing something like this, we'll get strangers that will walk around the cemetery and they'll see all the gear spread out and everything else, and you know, what are you doing? It's like, okay, well, I'll explain it. So you can educate people as you go. But I guess with this particular blog here, just trying to point out that, you know, there's different reasons why spirit are here, and it's not always that it's a spirit that's stuck in a cemetery that's connected to the grave. It could be one that's crossed over that knows that you're here. It also could be just a local lost soul that is drifting through. The other thing that I want to just mention too is that the other night actually I wanted to go off to a cemetery basically because I was looking at the weather report and it was going to be a very stormy night and there was supposed to be thunderstorms and all that sort of stuff. So I was watching the weather and it didn't actually eventuate. But I just wanted to mention too that I want to actually go out to a cemetery during a thunderstorm. Now, there's a couple of cemeteries around here that have got rotundas, so it's safe enough to actually go and sit in a rotunda. So I wouldn't go out in the open and be a beacon for lightning. But then again, if lightning struck me, might give me a bit of a spark in life, eh? But the thing is, why would you want to do something like that? Okay, now, you would have all heard a lot of stories about spirit being seen in a mist or on a rainy night, when there's a little bit of fog about, all that sort of stuff. You've got that moisture content that is actually enhancing the spirit energy. It's enhancing your vision as well to be able to see spirit energy around. So, having a little bit of chat about the weather here. Now, during a thunderstorm, if you've ever sat out in the backyard or just stood at the back door and just watched a thunderstorm come through, and you might notice like a sudden change, like it's a vibe, you know, the vibe of the whole atmosphere around you completely changes, and it's because the electrons in the atmosphere are all pulsating at a different rate. The whole atmosphere is actually changing, and with that change, it affects your aura. Sometimes you feel so revitalized just watching the storm come through, and you'll know this yourself. You would have experienced all of this, and the thing is, it's refreshing your aura, and in doing that, it's picking up your senses. So you've got your senses picking up, but at the same time, it's changing the vibration of the atmosphere, and that change that's happening in the atmosphere can affect spirit. It can enhance their ability to show themselves. It can enhance their ability to communicate with you as well. So if ever you get the chance to safely, undercover, do a little bit of spirit boxing or whatever else, rod play, or, you know, use some cat balls, whatever else, you know, REM pods, try a little bit of that undercover during a storm, because I think you'll experience some very, very interesting stuff, because a storm, like I was saying, can enhance your abilities because it's refreshing your aura, it's refreshing everything about you, it's refreshing your senses, lightening your senses, and it's also creating the energy for spirit to actually show themselves and to possibly communicate better with us. So that might be worth a go too. So anyway, that's a couple of little tips. I've got a little microphone here, so you know, everything might sound a little bit echoey. And I think that's about it for the moment. So I hope you're enjoying the start of your new year, and we send everybody loads of blessings out there. We've got a lot of people that we actually follow and watch on YouTube, and we just say hi to all those people. They know who you are. We've got people in South Australia, New South Wales, Victoria, across the world, America, you know, sort of in Europe, England. Got lots of friends out there on YouTube and on Facebook land as well, who sort of jump in and have a look at these little vlogs and whatever else. But anyway, I think I'll shut up now. And I hope you've enjoyed the vid, and I hope this mic turns out okay and you can actually hear it a little bit. I've got a little speaker set up there. My phone can't actually plug into, I can't plug a speaker into it, you know, a microphone into it, but that we'll work that out one day. Anyway, blessings to everybody, and if you've got any subjects that you'd like me to comment on at any stage, let us know. Just drop a line in the comments, see what I can do for you. I mean, I've been around for a long time. Been around since Moses parted the Red Sea, they reckon. Longer actually. But anyway, I've sort of had a lot of experiences in life and been doing mediumship and paranormal researching and paranormal investigating since I was a young teen. And so I've had a lot of experiences, so if you've got any questions, maybe I can answer them for you. Any ideas for blogs, let me know. Cheers everyone. Blessings.